Jai Shri Ram, second chapter, 16th shloka, a very critical, very important one. Let's try to listen to the shloka now. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah ubhayorapi drushtontaha tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. Krishna is saying, of the transient, the transitory, fugitive, fugacious, evanescent, ephemeral, momentary, fleeting, of the transient, there is no endurance. That means it does not last long. And of the eternal, there is no cessation. Right? And this has been observed and understood by the seers of truth. So Krishna is speaking, yeah, in a roundabout manner. He is trying to tell us very clearly that why what you see in this world is temporary. But don't dismiss it as non existent. It is not an illusion. It's not a delusion. A delusion means a false belief. Don't labor under the delusion that it has no existence. It has existence. And by the way, Krishna is both transcendent and immanent. That means he is beyond everything and within everything. Now, that's what the Veda says. So, Krishna permeates every subatomic particle. And if he is truly pervading, all pervading, then how can the world have no existence? So, if you dismiss the world as mithya, that means an illusion, it would be amounting to contradicting that Krishna pervades the world. So, you are in other words saying Krishna cannot pervade. So, if it is non existent, therefore you are actually denying the possibility that Krishna could be transcendent and immanent, that is within and beyond. So, Krishna is emphasizing the simple truth that the world does exist. It exists, but it is fleeting. That is why he calls it asat. Asat means temporary. Asat means temporary. Krishna doesn't call it mithya or non-existent. So, by the way, the Vedas clearly say that Paramatma, Jivatma and Maya, or Maya means in our context now, the Prakriti, nature, all are eternal. All are. In the Gita, in another place, Krishna says, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavapi. In the 13th chapter, 20th verse, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidya Anadi Ubhavapi Vikaranscha Gunanschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Know that Prakriti, that is material nature, and Purusha, the individual souls, are both beginningless. Also know that all transformations of the body and the three modes of nature are produced by material energy. Now, if they are described as beginningless, Krishna is admitting that he has not created them. And so the Veda says that God did not create this world, that is the Prakriti. He also did not create the individual Jivatmas. Now, in all other religions, they say that God created everything. God created the souls, God created the world. Now, when they say so, they also say that God created the man in his own image. Yeah? And God created the world. Now, let us look at these statements. If you apply a simple amount of critical thinking, if God created man in his own image, then man should be perfect because God's image has to be perfect. God is perfect. God cannot be imperfect. Na? And if God creates something, it has to be perfect. Now, can God, who is perfect, create something imperfect? Why would he create anything imperfect? So you will have to accept that a perfect God creates everything perfect. But we are imperfect. Are we perfect? No, we are imperfect. Therefore, Krishna is clearly, that is why he is saying this, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidya Anadi Ubhavapi. They are Anadi, beginningless. Which is what the Veda is also repeating. Shweta, Shvatara Upanishad, and in many places in the Veda says there are three eternities, three eternal verities, the Paramatma, Jivatma and Prakriti. So, this Jivatma is also eternal. And because it is eternal, ignorance also is eternal. We do not know at what point of time we have left Krishna's companionship and have descended down to the lower branches of the tree of existence or the tree of the body. That is why you have the Vedic mantra Dvasuparna. Dvasuparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vruksham parishasvajati tayoranyah pippalam swadvati anashnananyo abhichakashiti. The bird sitting on top of the tree of the body is Krishna, who is watching intently at you and me. And we are the two birds hopping on the lower branches, busy enjoying the sweet fruits of good deeds that we have done, and also suffering bitterness and sorrow because of these are the bitter fruits of all the evil, all the dushkarma that we have done. And Krishna is waiting for us to understand that we should be actually immersed but detached, and then join him right at the top in his work, which is uplifting these fallen jivatmas. Innumerable, infinite number of jivatmas are there who are all suffering, who are rotating in this transmigratory cycle. You see, they are going 84 lakh yonis. So now this makes logical sense. See, the Hindu theology makes logical sense, because the simple question is, if God made us in his image, why the hell are you bloody imperfect? Ask them. Ask any other person of another religion. They will say that God made us in his own image. He took some clay and he created man. Now, if God created man in his own image, man should be perfect, because a perfect God will not create anything imperfect. There is no need for any perfect God to create something imperfect. But we are not perfect. That we are not perfect is proof that we were not created by him. Right? Or we'll have to accept that if we are imperfect, then the God who created us must also be imperfect. So the Veda is very clear. Vedic rishis also say repeatedly, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. At some point of time we come back, the mind comes back saying that we can't understand. The Vedic rishis claim clearly. They say that we don't know. We take an agnostic position. We can only have some beliefs. But one thing is clear, he has not created us. We are eternal. We are beginningless. Because Krishna is also confirming it. Adi Shankara Ramanuja Madhvacharya Aptavakyam. Aptavakyam means people who are our well-wishers. They would never lie to us, just as your mother would not have lied to you that so and so is your father. Did you ever check? Did you ever get DNA testing done? And if I ask you some more questions, even you might get offended also. You just trusted your mother blindly that so and so is your father. What if that is not true? So I can ask some nasty questions here. That is called Aptavakyam. You trust. You trust your mother. You trust your father, isn't it? Similarly, you trust Tulsidas. You trust Adi Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya. We trust a galaxy of saints who are known as God realized. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda. You can trust them. You can trust them blindly, because they have no selfish motive. They are Nitya Suris actually. Nitya Suri is a term that Ramanuja uses. That means the intellectual lieutenants of Krishna. They are the intellectual generals. They were never bound by anything. They were ever free, and they are ever in service of Krishna. And they also have this Avirbhavam. That means the power to manifest. Avirbhavam means the power to manifest. Ishvara Koti. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa uses the word Ishvara Koti. Ishvara Koti means those realized souls who come back to and take birth as human beings just to help us, so that we too can get out of this mire of delusion and get out of this cycle of transmigration. Okay. So if you look at the type of jivas also, there is a terminology. Ramanuja says there are Baddha. Baddha means bound. Nitya Samsari is one category. Eternally lost and bound in the samsara, family and property and all that. He can't think beyond that. This fellow will continuously revolve. Birth and death will be continuous. He cannot get out of this. He is completely hopelessly bound. Baddha. And among the Baddha, there is one category who are Mukti Yogya. That means eligible for moksha. If you study Bhagavad Gita, and try to live by the principles in the Gita, then you become a mukti yogya. That means you are eligible for moksha, but you are still baddha right now. Then the next category is nitya. Mukta means who are free, who have been freed. That means from the baddha category they have been released. They are the mukta. And then the next category is nitya. Nitya means eternally free. They were never bound. That means they were always sitting on the top along with Krishna, and right now they are also sitting with Krishna right at the top. Dvasuparna. Suparna means birds. And they are called Nitya Suris also. They are eternally illumined. Suri means illumined. They are eternally knowledgeable, never bound, and they are the intellectual generals of Sri Krishna. And they have all the siddhis of Krishna except the siddhi of total creation and total destruction of total creation. You can partly create something, partly destroy, but you can't destroy the whole of creation. That is the only siddhi Krishna will not part with. It's common sense. If he parts with that, then some fool will destroy everything. So that is not allowed. All the other siddhis are possible. So the Nitya Suris have what is called Avirbhava, power of manifestation. So Vivekananda, I believe, is a vibhuti of Shiva. Right? And Shiva is none other than Krishna. Rudranam Shankarascha Ramashastra Bhrutamaham Senaninam Aham Skandaha Kim Purushanam Hanuman. Krishna is clearly saying that he is Vashishta. He is, if you study Vibhuti Yoga, if you study Uddhava Gita, Kim Purushanam Hanuman, Krishna says that he is Hanuman. Hanuman is nothing but a Vibhuti of Sri Krishna. So the material nature which can be called Maya or Prakriti, it is energy of Krishna. It has been existing eternally. Jivatma is eternal. Jivatma is called Purusha. Now Purusha in grammar is male, but in spirituality and theology, Purusha simply is a term for the Jivatma, the living entity or the soul. And Krishna is the Parama Purusha, the supreme living entity. The soul is also an expansion of the energy of God, just like a spark of a huge conflagration. So that is the soul energy. The soul is a fragment of Jiva Shakti of Krishna. So that is why you are fundamentally divine. But we are Anu, very small. And this body is governed by Prakriti. And Prakriti is governed by the three modes of nature, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And the countless varieties of combinations are possible. So this body will go through all these stages of existence, asti, jayate, birth, vardhate, growth, viparinamate, procreation, apakshiyate, diminution, and vinashyati, death. So these 6 stages: existence, birth, growth, procreation, diminution, death. So these are all changes that will take place in the body because Prakriti or Maya is governed by the 3 modes, Guna, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So that's what Krishna is saying in this slokam. I said many things. I am making an effort to summarize so many concepts so that we have a better understanding. I am reading the verse again. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidya Anadi Ubhavapi Vikaranscha Gunaanschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Vikaranscha, transformations of the body. So that is the 6 transformations I just mentioned. So going back to the original sloka with which we started this discussion, 2nd chapter 16. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sataha ubhayorapi drushtontva tvanayo tattvadarshibhihi. Right? Again I am reading it. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sataha ubhayorapi drushtontas tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. So, again I am summarizing it so that you don't forget this. Veda is very clear that there are 3 eternal verities. Verity means the truth. And the Vedic mantras are very clear. Taittiriya Upanishad, so many places it is said that Krishna permeates every atomic particle, subatomic, And if Krishna is truly all pervading, then how can the world have no existence? To say that the world is mithya, which means non existent, is to contradict the Vedic statement that Krishna pervades the world. So Krishna explains that the world does exist, but it is temporary, fleeting. So please don't call it mithya or non-existent. You can call it asat. Asat means temporary. Sat means something that has permanence, right? And what has permanence? You, your Atma, and Prakriti. In fact, there is an interesting story. Ashtavakra and Janaka Maharaj. Janaka Maharaj once asks Ashtavakra a question and tells Ashtavakra that he had a dream. And in this dream, he lost his kingdom, he was defeated by his enemies, and he became a beggar. And he was starving, and he went to some place where some Annadanam was going on. He stood there in a line. By the time he reached the counter, the food counter, food was over. So the man, this man Janaka is a Maharaja, emperor. So in this dream, Janaka is relating his dream. So the man at the counter, I believe, scraped the vessel, and a little porridge, a few remnants of food were available. He put that in the bowl and handed the bowl to Janaka. Janaka was dying of hunger, so he was just about to eat that little. A great emperor, reduced to beggary. Now he just put this, he was just about to put the bowl to his mouth and drink up that little porridge, ganji. Just then an eagle, I believe, swooped on him and kicked that bowl, and the little porridge fell into the ground, and it got mixed up with the dust and earth, and so that was disaster. He got Wang the Putinawad. Wang the Putinawad. WHANGE It is a word from the Ojibwe people of North America. They are Native Americans. Ojibwe, Ojibwe. I like the sound of this word. Wang the Putinava. WHANG, Wang, DEPOOTENAWAH, which means a sucker punch, which means disaster that strikes you unexpectedly, like moye moye. It's a Serbian word, moye moye, moye moye. And he got moye moyed, he got Wang the Putin award. But then he woke up from the dream. And Janaka is asking Ashtavakra the question, Sir, I am an emperor. See, right now I am an emperor, I can see. But in the dream, when I dreamt all this, that was also real for me. And I was suffering so badly. Now, my question is, which is real? The dream which was so real to me, was that reality? And this reality where I am the emperor, is this reality? Ashtavakra answers this very interesting philosophical question and says, neither that is real, nor this is real. You are real. Because you were there in both the situations. So in other words, you are existent. You are permanent. And all this is temporary. So the dream is also temporary, the reality is also temporary. So this is Asat, that is also Asat, and you are Sat. Understood? So we are Sat, that means we have permanence. But the world is Asat. It can't be dismissed as Mithya. Mithya means non-existent. It is not Mithya. It is not non-existent. It is existent, but it is fleeting. Asat means fleeting. Asat means temporary. Sat means permanent. Jai Shri Ram.